So it is the complexity is only bad if it's bad, right? If it fails to do
Exactly.
those things, if it meets those things, that's fine. So let's take a look at a system which we are going to presume meets those criteria. Events happen, and the bounce of the mechanics produce an excitement and an engagement and a readiness to, it's energizing to
Mm,
have to use these dice. Okay,
yeah.
if you have that happening, or to when you have, the same thing with numbers, if you have the opportunity to shift certain numbers, and it's again, it's energizing to do it as a player. You're excited to use these instruments, and you're not leaving the story or the events, you're actually inside them even further when you do this. So if you have that, then why would you ever not want to use them? And so here's what I need to know, or for you to reflect on. Why did none of us at the table, Max, Helma, or me, know that we could have said, let's get some dice rolling at this seance? I have a bone to pick with the curse.
Mm,
Why me? I want to get out of this curse, or I want you to, I want to know more. You can't
mm,
leave us here with just this blank of find out who killed me. I don't feel like running around digging up fucking clues from townspeople who don't want to tell me. I want you to tell me what happened. Exactly how did you die? What happened? What do you know? And then I
mm,
want to roll. I want to roll, damn
mm,
it. And the curse perhaps being, and disembodied spirit of nothing left but passions and hopes and fears and, stuff like that, nothing left.
mm,
The backlash from failure might actually hurt me.
mm,
Not because the curse wants to hurt me as a person, but she's a freaking ghost. That's bad news. I'm
mm,
messing with the occult, right? When I try
mm.
to, use this role. So the thing I'm
I
trying to get at is, how is
mm,
it that, again, please don't take this as a criticism. This is for you to reflect on.
mm.
How is
I'm
it
not
that Helma,
taking
Max, and I didn't know to do that?
when exactly.
Right. And so
I
that's
I
right.
I think I don't have a really good answer
Of
to
course
this.
not. It's only for you to
Uh,
sleep on, for your brain
uh,
to work on. That's
but
all.
but when you say it, I think it might be that you are actually, this is a bit of an ash can. This is a bit of an like, so when I'm pushing the system towards you and saying this is the rules, I'm not like 100% confident.
I completely understand that.
So
And so that's why the way I'm phrasing this question is
mm,
not as a challenge to say,
mm.
look what's missing or look what's wrong. It is instead to say, it's
No, no,
time
but
for
I
your
think it's
brain.
very,
It's time for your
uh,
brain to play with it, when we
and
are not
I think
talking.
it's really interesting. And what I take from this discussion is that I could have done that. I could really have done that. I could have built that into the kind of have that, because what you did was in the prologue you got to like establish some facts about your character,
Right,
and then you did it. So that was one part of interacting with the system.
right.
But the next thing would be, okay, now we roll
Now
some
we're in
dice.
it. Now the dice are
Yeah,
going to come out when they're
yeah.
required. Right.
We
So,
could
yeah.
totally have done that. But you said that you had two examples where we could have done it.
Well, the seance is the one, and in some ways, if that had happened, then I don't think that another would have been, well, another dice roll would have been necessary depending on whatever happened, or maybe not, right? Okay, so the main one. But given that there wasn't one,
Mm,
then we could have found ourselves in a dice roll situation regarding the departure of Madame. Madame may have wanted to leave.
Yeah, you
but
it's I played with you a couple of times, both as a player, and this is something that I would in another session discuss with you,
which
is technique.
Mhm.
I viewed your videos, and when you talk about technique, I'm not sure if you're like referring to the same as I do, because when I talk about technique, it's something that is a way for me as a game master or a player to solve a certain situation. It's something that is not implicit in the rules, like for an example, when Zlatan is handling the ball, that's technique.
I get you.
Yes,
that's a meaningful use of the word.
Yeah.
What I was saying as technique is much more in terms of whether we roll 2d10 or 5d6.
Yeah.
And whether we roll, for example, because I say so, or because you say so, or either one.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I mean by technique. And so very much in terms of the rules. Right.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But I also understand what you mean. But you were pointing out an observation in terms of your meaning of technique. You were referring to an observation about me as a participant. So what was that observation?
For an example, I see that you're very easy to play with as a game master, because what I'm doing is I'm pushing things into your square, and then you push things back to me, and that becomes really, I mean, it's very easy to play with someone doing that.
Right.
Someone that is more hesitant is you push things back, and then they either don't push anything back or they push it sideways.
Right.
And for example, if we look at Max, he's not doing that. He has his own agenda, and it's really. And I don't think
that's fascinating. Max is such a fun player in so many ways.
Yeah.
Because when he goes, I mean, I don't want to go off on this for too much, but his character Mark in Primetime Adventures was so helpless and so manipulable and could be pushed around, and he followed people, and was and then the moment when he said
enough,
I do my thing now, the whole thing, and so you're kind of in this one, you're kind of getting, Max just looked at the instrumentation that he has, which is all these cards and concepts at the moment, and he said, I think I'm going to hit the go button. I'm going to hit that. What are we doing? Go.
Yeah. But I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, it was, I think this is one of the things that I really appreciate with game mastering, when someone says, okay, I pick out my saw and I saw him. This was, and this is so interesting when you have to cope with that, because I don't have any line or wheels or whatever. This is just very interesting, because I see where he's heading, and it's really pushing me in a direction that I didn't expect, but I like it.
Sure.
And it's the same, exactly the same with Helma, how she played her character, because she's not doing it in the same way that Max did this time, but she's doing it in a different time. And in different way. But what I see with you is that you are, I think that both Max and Helma is probably, and I'm totally guessing now, but they're probably like approaching this from a narrative view and thinking, but you are in all places all the time. So you're thinking, okay, I have this card that says the gunslinger or the lone gunman, but I'm probably going to change to the gunslinger, and I need to use this. So you're both in the narrative, in the game, and in everywhere. And for me, it's like like playing with someone that it's like deliberately putting up something on volley where I can smash things and make an interesting game. And I think that, you know, when you were in conventions in the 90s and you heard someone saying he's a really good player or whatever, that was usually what that meant, that they were kind of, when you met them at the table, when you pushed like narrative components back and forth, it kind of rolled
Right, right. No,
really.
I completely agree. I refer to it as a uh, I usually use the musical analogy that when we talk about jazz and jamming,
Mm.
I am not talking about the cat walking on the piano. Right. We are not talking about five musicians just sitting there, each in their own world, just plucking away. They're listening to each other.
Yeah.
And I think that matters to me a lot. Well, I appreciate your comments in this, but I think that the important thing to do is to say with a game like this, we can utilize the details, of the mechanics we have in front of us.